Hello, today is Friday, May 22nd, 2015, and I am your host, Sue Brown, and welcome to info2rail, your freight train to modern media. How y'all doing today? I just want to let you know, here in New York, it is cold. I don't think we've seen any heat in the last 2 or 3 days, and today we're at 55 degrees, and it is chilly. It's funny to me how we spend all winter and we're begging for that, even that 40 degrees. And then when we get into the spring and summer months, when we're at 50 degrees, we're freezing. It's kind of silly. I want to welcome you all to our show, and we have a great show in store for you today. We are very fortunate today to have Marc Brinkerhoff with us. First, we're going to have a little glimpse into the missing persons. We have Ashley Watts, age 14, was last seen in Callahan, Florida on April 10th, 2015. She is 5 foot tall. She weighs 100 pounds. She has light brown hair and brown eyes. She also has a tattoo of a heart with CBM on her hip. Anyone with information, please. You can go on our website, our info2rail Google sites, and there's pictures. I post them every week of the people that I talk about. Please come on, check them out. We got to find these people, and we got to get them home to hopefully safely to their families who are all missing them. Anyone with information on her location, please contact the Nassau County Sheriff's Office at 904-548-4036, or you can also leave an anonymous tip by calling the First Coast Crime Stoppers at 1-866-845-TIPS, which is 8477. Our second one is police in Mobile, Alabama are asking for the public's help locating a man who was last known communication with family and friends was a text message which said help. Charles Bubba Jackson, age 33, was last heard from on May 23rd, 2014, as he was walking from around the intersection of Moffett and Schillinger Road to meet his girlfriend, Citanel. He never made it. He is 5 foot 8 inches tall. He weighs 165 pounds with brown eyes and brown hair. He has a tattoo on both of his arms, one which reads "Laugh Now" and the other which reads "Cry Later." He also has the number 13 tattooed on his right wrist and flames on his left arm. Anyone, please, anyone with information on his whereabouts can contact the Mobile Police Department at 251-208-7211. I can't express to you how important this is to me. Anybody who's listened to my show since I started doing the missing persons things, you all know how important this is to me. What if it was somebody you love that was missing? Wouldn't you want everybody to band together and find your loved one? I mean, even if the consequences are bad, and unfortunately sometimes they are, at least the family has closure and they don't have to wonder. So if we can get out there, just look around, I have the pictures right on the site, and if you take the time just to check out the pictures on there, and when you're out and about, these people could be missing from California and be in New York. These people could be missing from Texas and end up, at the topmost place of the map. They can be anywhere, and we got to do our part as, the good human race that God would want us to be, and find these people and bring them home. We're going to take a short break, and when we return, we will have Marc Brinkerhoff with us. Stay tuned. Don't go away. We'll be right back. Okay, we are back with Marc Brinkerhoff. Marc is a rare contactee, conscious channel, and walk-in from the 12th dimensional universe, ascended Master ETs of the Alsyglion Group. He is their only representative to speak for them on Earth. He's able to often call in interdimensional extraterrestrial craft to be witnessed and photographed to bear witness to his ongoing contact. He can be seen in the award-winning film by James Carman, The Hidden Hand. Marc's presence in the film provides the benevolent aspect of human an ET interaction. Welcome to info2rail, Mark, and thank you so much for being on our show.
Oh, thank you so much, Sue. Glad to be here.
Can you start off by telling us about you and how you got started as such a rare contactee?
Well, you believe in reincarnation?
Yes, I do.
Okay, well, it's kind of that, but it's not exactly that. This is my first time here on Earth as a physical person walking here. But in past times, even during times of dinosaurs and before and after, I've visited the Earth in my space form, which is my other true self, I guess I'd say. I came here to try to help. And to get here, I had no karmic energy here on the planet Earth from past lives. So we worked with the councils in the solar system in this galaxy to figure out a way, me and my crew and friends, how we can have influence on the Earth when it's going to go through the changes it's going through now. But back then, we knew the Earth was going to go through a lot of frequency exchange and changes. So we wanted to bring the information we had to help in some way. And the councils told us, well, who has been to the Earth the most if you've landed on it? You know, unfortunately, it was me, but it's fortunate though. I like it. I said, we looked at each other and talked to each other, 12 of us, and we realized, oh, we've all landed on the Earth, but I had the most experience at different times landing or being here, walking amongst them as an Etherean, as well as like we call it Etherians, are physical in a sense, but we can also transmute and change our frequency and go back to our dimensional space. So we can come here, walk on the planet, and also leave. But I wasn't physical density like this planet had the people on it. And we were tall, roughly 12 feet, sometimes 20 feet tall, depending on which times it came in. So when we realized it was me, they all said, well, we're going to be with you. We'll see through your eyes what you go through, but I will be feeling it. And when we come back at night, when I go out of body or soul travel, that is where they experience, with my frequency and energy, what I've been going through on this planet. So they understand what it's like to live here and the things we see and hear and the way people treat people. Even though I'm sending out love to people and animals all the time, even as a kid, I was harassed and all kinds of stuff would go on because I knew I didn't fit in. I wasn't like them. And even that's what they would tell me. The kids would say, they called me the Martian. So it was kind of funny. But they would witness UFOs with me when they were with me, since I was in kindergarten. But I came in, we had to find someone that I once knew from another time, from space, let's say. And that person we found was my father, who was on the planet experiencing stuff here. So we monitored him, and we said, all right, we'll monitor. I'll call my father Bill because his name was Bill. We'll follow him, and we'll see what goes on as well. We monitored other people too, but it was mostly my father, who was one of my best friends in space from another time. So when we monitored them, we found the mother was going to have a baby, and she was having a miscarriage at 8 months. And so I went with my angel to be at the hospital high above in the ceiling, and we waited to see what was going to happen, because anything can happen. And you got to be prepared to take a body that's like a discard body. That's the only kind of body I'll be able to get into. So that's what they told us, and that's what I had to do. So when she was on a gurney, I was watching from this high up above ceilings in dimensional space. I was watching, and we saw a soul come out of her body, her tummy area, came straight up towards us, and transformed from a baby to a more adult soul. It said, baby's going to be born dead, I'm leaving. And so my angel says to me, do you want to try this one? So I said, yes, let's go down. So we went down to see the frequency energy that was coming from my mother, as well as the baby, that fetus, that was now dead. And I said, I believe I can work with this. I can. So I zoomed in right away. Like the angel said, get in. I get in, and there's a connection you have to put in yourself, with a connection to the head, as well as the solar plexus area and the heart. So I had to scrunch my energy down into a tinier form and get in there and locked in a sense. And when that happened, Creator's energy comes through as a waking of the heart and everything, and it changed everything. Just the baby came back to life. I was hearing from outside my mother's stomach or womb the people talking around her, the nurses, and I heard them saying, something's happening. We don't understand what's going on. What happened? Everything's wrong. Now it's all right. We don't know why. And she kept saying that to my mother. And my angel actually was saying something like that to me. Now everything's all right. She was saying that, and the other words came over that with the person who was the nurse. And I said telepathically, well, that's because I just got in. And then I pulled out of my mother's, the baby's body. I pulled out, like went out of body, and watched them as they gurneyed move my mother through the doors. And they were rushing her back because the baby came back to life. Now, my dad told me when that happened, he said the doctors came out and said, we can only save one of them. Who should we save? And he said, my wife. So I knew that was the background information that was going on before I got there. So my dad told me what happened that day. And then they rushed my mother out, and she went up to a room and recouped, and she went home. So I knew they were turning her, like they were going to do something to her on her back. They were tilting her to the side, even though that's when I pulled out of body. I found out from her years and years later, yeah, they were just going to give me a spinal. And they were going to do that because they were going to have a cesarean. But when it came back on, all the monitors went on, because I told my mom all the monitors went on. I said there were 2 nurses and 1 doctor, and she said, yeah, that's right, nobody knows that but me, she said. That's when they wheeled her out. They didn't give her the spinal. So that's how I got here. And my father always knew something was up, because I was 4 years old telling him stories about the solar system and the galaxy. And he said, you wouldn't know this. I don't talk about stars and space. So he says one day to me, I said to him, actually, I'm not from here. And you're not my real parents, actually.
Wow.
Because to us, our real parents as soul is creator. That's how we think when we're out there. So it was funny. You know? So my father says, okay, if you're here from space, what planet? Do you have a planet? Where are you from? I said, not from a planet. We're from a place I call home right now. But it's not a planet. It's like a ship or something. We travel in it. So my father's like, okay, all right, how many planets are in the solar system? And I remember looking at him and I said, well, how many planets do you say you have? He says, well, 9. He goes, Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, 9, like that. And I went, well, there's more than that. And he says, really? I said, yeah, there's 12. And I'm including the one that blew up. And he says, what one that blew up? And I said, you know, the one between the big planet and little planet that was there. And he says, the asteroid belt? And I said, yeah, that's it, the asteroid belt. He says, how do you know this? I said, because I was there when the planet was a planet, and it blew up because of the people on it. That's why they come to Earth now, the UFOs, because they know this has happened before in the solar system where technology went so crazy, that nuclear energy and all that blew up the planet, actually. And those souls left and came to Earth to be born here. So I think that's where the people get a little warlike going on mostly here, because it's actually people from ancient Atlantean lifetimes have come back, as well as from that planet, Maldek they called it, has come here too. And so they still have that war factor in their mind or in their subconscious. So we see a lot of this technology war and all these things going on. And the beings that from space came in the 40s, remember when they did the nuclear bomb, they came to observe what's going on, because once Earth people blew out that kind of a bomb, it affects different frequencies and energy fields around the planet Earth, as well as realms like etheric realms and all that are in the frequencies of the solid planets, even though invisible to us. So they said when they came to the governments of the planet, they wanted to stop all this kind of nuclear bombs and atomic bombs and everything, because it affects many souls and people that you don't see, they said. You know, you don't know what's on the other dimensional spaces. They said they'll never allow a planet to blow up again. So I try to tell people, no matter what people say, that the war that's going on Earth and we can actually blow up the Earth, that would never be allowed, because they have the space people have technology to just shut down a bomb, and they've proven it in the 70s as well, when they shut down bombs China was trying to launch under an ocean. They just were pushing the button. The UFO kept coming down, hovering, stopped the button's action, stopped all action. After three attempts at trying to push this button, the Chinese said, I guess we're not going to do this one today, and the spaceship went off. And made the bomb not blow up. They did something like that, disconnected it. So that's why I want people to know that. No, the Earth will not be allowed to blow up.
Why are UFOs appearing worldwide to everybody now?
Well, because of this energy that's happening in our solar system as well. It's coming to our galaxy. There's an area in space that I saw as a child. When I'm out of body, I'm in another form. I'm not a child in that form. If I was 5 years old, I was out of body or soul traveling on a ship with my true self, my other aspect of me. And I was seeing what was going to be happening in the future. And I said, well, wait a minute, if I'm on Earth, when is this going to happen? And the friends and people I know on the ship said, well, we can't really say exactly when because the energy fluctuates a little bit, but the galaxy is moving towards it. And all the galaxies move towards what scientists are calling the Great Attractor, but that's something else anyway. But they're moving, and this big energy field, which we called in space the blue energy field, was taking up a whole area bigger than galaxies. It's huge. I have it on I think I had it on my website. When I give lectures, I show pictures that I've done to show the balance and how it looks. If you take your little galaxy and make it like the size of a marble, this blue energy field is going to be like 3.5 feet wide and huge and long. So other galaxies are going to go through this field as well in their future. What happens when they go through this field, there's a very strong energy that's there that creates changes in the frequencies around the galaxies coming towards them. Now, the first time the galaxy came towards this energy was in the 1960s, during the time of the Love Revolution, the 1960s, and peace and everything. That was a test of the energy that you could feel, a taste of it, actually. So this loving energy is coming, and it's triggering frequency changes around not just the planets and the solar system, are the physical people as well, and some Ethereal people. It doesn't affect the high dimensional people the same way with their energy. So what's happened is our galaxy now is just touching near the edgings of this energy field. And when I researched it online to see if anybody's heard of this ever, because I've been talking about it since the 1960s and talked in other talks too and lectures, that this blue energy field is going to trigger the frequency that starts speeding everything up. And everybody's going to start feeling it like they do today. They feel energy's faster. So we touched into that around 2008, moving in. And the galaxies all move and rotate, so they're moving forward. So we're getting into this energy field, and now the space people even said, "Oh, you'll see real changes, more changing occur where people were waking up around 2015 to 2016 on to 2020," and that was back in 2008. And I was telling people, wait till 2015 and 2016. We're going to see some amazing things happening with people waking up, like they were. Subconsciously waking up to, oh my gosh, there's more than this, and oh my gosh, I'm seeing fairies or nature spirits, having seen auras suddenly, or having lucid dreams where people didn't have that maybe in their life before. So this is awakening energy, and this is what's causing it. Even the people I've talked to who are spiritual leaders or teachers, and they always say, oh, we're going to change, frequency's changing. I said, but do you know why? And they go, well, isn't it mostly from astrology or astrology charts, astrology? I said, no, it's the whole galaxy. It's not just astrology. So back in 2012, people thought it was astronomy, and astrology charts and things of what's happening with the stars in the solar system area, but it's the whole galaxy. And so I looked it up online, and I found that the scientists, the astronomers, discovered a field of energy, I think through the Hubble, that they saw was way far away. They can't see with their telescopes here. And they were calling it the energy field of some sort. I think my wife knows the name easier because I remember reading it and saying, we have the Great Attractor and they have the interstellar energy field, I think it's called. That's what I think the scientists are calling it. And we call it in space blue energy because on that frequency we've seen it as a blue-purple. It's very pretty. But it looks like a fog of energy, but it's transparent. So this is why it's speeding up. But that's why they're also coming to see the Earth, the different people in other planet systems and dimensional systems. They come to observe as well as help. They're mostly, most UFO beings I've met are benevolent. I know there's some out there that are tricksters and that are playful, or we heard about people being abducted. That was going on, yes, in the early 60s and 70s as well. But they've been told to stay back and get out and stop doing that. Because most ETs don't agree with that type of experimenting. So that's what they're here more. To make people wake up, to look up that there's signs in the skies. As I talk about the signs in the skies, they are those signs. And they want to help people's awareness to wake up to their spiritual evolution that's happening to them now as the planet is moving through these energy fields. And they should start feeling things happening to their body, not negative, just either a feeling of love. They might have a feeling of love where they were so depressed, now they're feeling, if I connect oneness with light and consciousness, these things wake up the frequencies, the chakras and everything. And there's so many more things. I know you got to ask some more questions, but that is one of the reasons the ETs or other ETs are flying around the planet Earth and monitoring. We also have Ashtar, who's a being of light as well, and he's a high Etherian right now, but he also works on other frequency levels up to the 12, where I know him. So he has a command here that he helps with this galaxy, mostly our solar system and systems in our area. So his ships are the most ships we see around the Earth right now, coming from his crews that work with their galactic command, let's say. And they're not military-like. They're just wonderful spiritual beings trying to help people. They don't need anything from Earth, no resources. They just want to help souls to awaken themselves and wake up, learn that there's more than that, just physical density here. To help them transform.
What makes them, why do some of us see these UFOs and have these encounters, but some of us don't?
Okay, sometimes the people that come towards the person are usually maybe ET, let's say ET, friends of theirs from another time. And even the ones I come from, called the Alsyglion Group. We come from the galaxy called, once Alsyglion is the name of it, but it's out of frequency now. It's gone to a higher frequency. So we came to help in this galaxy, to help with these types of exchanges that occur with the enlightening of the galaxies, or let's say energy frequency speed ups, whatever we want to call it. We see what's going to happen in a certain place. So we go to those areas that have the physical people on them, the planets that are around. So it's just not Earth that's physical. There's other ones, but we have this one on Earth is very heavy physical, where there's a lot of training going on. So we jokingly call it cosmic boot camp on Earth. It's just funny, but that's the way it feels for the people here. Like you're in boot camp and it just doesn't get better for a while, and then suddenly gets better, and then it goes crazy. Other physical densities, planets have more like less evil, let's say, less wanting to kill each other here on their planet. So they understand what Earth goes through too, and some of those people from other galaxies or solar systems will come here to visit too and check out what's going on here. So they're coming around people usually who are part of their crew one time, or maybe they are that person. Your future self is an aspect of yourself, could come back in time, because there is no time on those levels, and they can come here and visit us. So a lot of times for me, it was my future. I didn't understand it as a child, but I now understood it. When I was 10 years old, I got the whole thing that he handed to me, and I understood it. They're coming back at times to check on their own connection, their own self, many times. So sometimes the person that sees the UFO or has the encounter, let's say, with a physical being or a being of some sort, even out of body or soul travel, you can have encounters. This usually has to do with yourself, your own, where you've come from, your future aspect, or your higher self or over self, come to help you. And especially if it's soul travel. And out of body can be just regular out of body travel. It could take you around the outer edges of the Earth in space, and there they have spaceships set up for people coming out of body that are taken out by their angels as well to come visit and learn lessons and spiritual things, not to do with Earth as well. And they can bring back memories of this. So that's where people on Earth might have encounters with their own aspect or friends they knew from another time. And they also make contracts with their space beings that they know. So I've met people who had experiences with Greys, let's say, being abducted. And when the Greys, they're not always bad. Not all of them are bad. It's spiritual Greys. But the majority of the ones that were here were like scientists taking people out. They're the ones who have bases out in the west, southwest underground that our government probably allowed. So they have bases around the planet that everybody's allowing them to be because their planet is gone. But they were the ones abducting, and they thought they can do it. They were given permission, but not a lot of it. They went overboard with it. So one of these beings said to somebody, and they said, "Why'd you do this? Why are you taking me and doing this to me?" And now they're going to let her go and say, and they said, "Well, we don't just always randomly pick somebody. We pick sometimes people who made a contract with us that said it was okay if we come to them before they were born. They made the contract." And even my space friends have told me that in the past too. Some people make a contract. It's okay because I come from them. That you could take me on board, and if you need to do an experiment, it's okay. It's for the good. I understand. So that's what happens sometimes. But I've met people who lost their babies. They were pregnant and suddenly no baby anymore, and they're returned with their nightgown upside down, inside out, or backwards, and no recollection of time that was lost. Just they went to bed. Now they don't have a baby, and they wake up.
So there are good and bad ETs out there?
There are really benevolent, mostly all benevolent, I'd say, with a few that are similar to the way, let's say, if Earth people, scientists went out to space and landed on a planet, they're out there for scientific reasons, and they say, well, I got to get this job done, I just got to do this. So they take something they find walking along and bring it in, experiment, taking a sample, and then let it go. And they wouldn't even know, because they're not telepathic enough, to know that that little being they might have picked up might look like a little animal of some kind, but was not an animal, has a soul, and doesn't know how they're reacting to that experience. So that's why some of the Greys would try to block the memory, but they don't always block it well. They would try to lose their, hide the experience that happened with the person. And still, it's still to the people that I know in space, not the way to do things. They don't agree with things like that, abductions. They agree with only talking to somebody, and if they want to take a ride, fine, come on. They don't take samples and stuff from people. So my encounters were always benevolent. Asked if I want to come on.
So,
I was never taken.
So basically, are we in any danger at all of an alien invasion? I mean, you see these movies portraying all this stuff about this. Is this anything reality, or?
Well, the thing is if these beings that they're so beyond us, if they wanted to, they would have done it a long time ago. But the thing is they all know this is a planet. This planet has been set up sort of like if you imagine a school science project. Originally, it was started like this group has their specimens of their mice, and this other group has their gerbils, and they don't try to mix with the others. But when they found out that they were doing, because actually Earth had people coming here as bases, they wanted to set up bases, so you have different races here, different types of races are here, and when they realized they were going to do some experimenting, not all of the beings did that, but you could see in some of the ancient history type of carvings or paintings and things that a lot of these ETs kind of resembled the Greys, or they were tall with large heads and large eyes on these old rock paintings. So they were communicating with the people, but they also had a base under the earth, under the ground, and they've been there for a long, long time. But the good ones, very friendly ones, could be all different heights and different types of species too. And they're not trying to hurt anybody. A lot of times they're studying things, like climate, or they might be seeing pollution levels, things like that.
Do you think that the world is going to end in my lifetime?
No. I ask questions for people all the time because when I go up there, every time I look, it's not ended. The thing is, Earth will never blow up. They're not going to allow it. So it's not going to end like that in any way. The only thing that can happen is Earth is moving into the high frequencies of that frequency fields. So we should be seeing, the sad part is the souls that are not acclimated for that kind of frequency might be just now even so, children dying of a heart attack, or people jogging and they just drop dead and they have nothing wrong with them. They say, no, it's nothing physically wrong. Why did they die? Because their energy wasn't right yet for that time, the frequency they're in now. They might have came to have a life here for now just to get in, to be able to have a future time on this planet in the next couple hundred years or 1,000 years. As long as they touched the planet and lived on it with their feet and moving around, and they should die if they die from something, that means they have a karmic connection to this Earth. So they can come back in another lifetime if they feel to choose that. And sometimes that's how they do it. They read the energy on the planet, and they, I'm talking about councils and all, out in deep space. There are high-frequency councils and 10th level frequencies that they see whose patterns have been around the planet and given time zones around the planet Earth. And then they go into past time that might have been 1800s. In their level where they are, or the frequency, there is no time. So it's like tapping Akashic record energy. And they see that, okay, this was 1850. You know, you were on the Earth around that time. You can come back, choose what you want to learn. And that's how people have done it. That's why these physical densities were set up this deep, this dense, because souls wanted to come back and test themselves with things. They also wanted to test their mind, their memories. They would give them a veiling of effect. They would take away what they recalled from their past times on this planet before they come into before they're born, so that when the baby comes, it's like a fresh start for them. They won't have 1600s in their head constantly moving around while they're walking on the planet. They'll get confused. So they're given that opportunity, even though intuitively they'll remember things. Their body, they'll remember certain things that sound familiar. Whether they might come back as an artist, as a musician, or a singer with no training, and they'll say, this person sounds like this great conductor or this musician or whatever. And it could be that person, or it could be a friend of that person that came back who knew that person. Now they have that gift that they're coming in with to share. It's interesting the way it works, but no. And people ask about the Earth flipping over, flipping the whole Earth over. That's gonna, if that ever happens, even in space. I saw when I was out there, if this happens, it's going to happen like 10 or more thousand years from now, if the planet goes for a flip. And if it goes a partial flip, which means it just moves a little bit, like a certain number of degrees where a flooding occurs, that's happened a little already. But it doesn't wipe out the whole planet or anything. So we are going through changes, and we are to expect some changes, especially Earth changes, which you see now with the volcanic energy and all, and earthquakes. That's the Earth settling in that way. Christ, Yeshua, who's in space with us, we see him all the time. He is who he says he is. His name is Sananda in space. He is his true highest form of an androgynous being. But when he works around the Earth in the solar system of Earth, he might be seen as Jesus or Yeshua, the way he appeared, or people assume he appeared. So sometimes he'll have a beard or not. But he'll be the representation of Jesus that people think of here on the planet when they meet him out of body or in dream states or lucid dreams. Or if they die, they'll meet him that way too. So Yeshua has always said to us, let your last thoughts be on me, and no harm will befall you. He's given me miracles when I've done that with him, when I've been trapped in things like head-on collisions and all, and ice. I'd say, Jesus, angels, help me now. And his face would appear before me, and a miracle would occur. And including where I fell on steps where I should have died, 3 cement steps. I slipped in rain, and I had 2 bags of heavy metal parts that I was carrying for a button machine in both hands. And I flipped up in the air, my feet went ahead of me, and I called out, Jesus, angels, help me now. And instantly, on both sides of my body were giant hands of my angels, on my shoulder blades and my thighs. And they levitated me all the way over to the front of the doors of the building, which is like 15 feet, about 4 or 5 feet off the ground. And all I could feel was euphoric energy of love. And I said, thank you, I love you to God, or Creator. So there is ways to be saved, and we can be helped in that way. So when he said in the Bible, in the ancient text, You will hear of wars and rumors of wars. Don't trouble your heart. Be with me. I am with you always, and no harm will come to you. I tell people now, you hear all these things online or on TVs and hate radio or whatever kind of things are out there on conspiracy theories and everything. The only way you're going to know truth is to discern it yourself through your own solar plexus. The children of the earth have to learn to discern. They have to, because the words are going to be tricking them all the time, because that's what they're specializing in right now with fake videos and setups with cameras that are not real, of images that are not real, like holograms and things. So you have to learn to discern it, because with a hologram, there's no energy from it that's going to be of a living entity of any sort of thought. Even Yeshua. If Yeshua appears to you in front of you, you will feel everything about him. He's appeared to me once, and he is amazing and pure love. So I tell people, he lives, he's alive, and he can materialize in front of you, drink a cup of tea, and disappear. But he's still a physical being when he comes in, and then when he goes and leaves, he's a material entity of sorts of the substance of the higher frequencies of our spiritual bodies. And I'm trying to explain as best I can how that works, but just to have your thoughts be on Creator, Mother, Father, Creator, or Yahweh, and Yeshua, and Blessed Mother. You will be protected if you trust totally in them and understand they are real and they can help you.
What we read in the Bible and Revelations and such, is that something that we should believe, that, these things will come to pass? I'm seeing a lot of the things that, that are in Revelations coming to pass, such as the water's going bad. There's dead fish on every lake we walk on now. I mean, there's just absolutely tons and tons of dead fish. And, the cancers, you see all these plagues are sweeping and people are dying of cancer and all these things. I mean, are these truly things that we should believe?
I have to intuitively feel, yes, part of it's that true. Yes, it is. Because it's signs of the times of what's going on. Yet it is partially more man-created as well, from pollutants, pesticides, chemtrail energies, whatever they're doing, frequencies that we have around us like ELF and EMF, and that's why it's probably not good to have Wi-Fi, because it affects the frequencies of the body as well as your animals and pets, as fish and birds and bugs. There's a lot of things that mankind is doing for technology to make everything nice and futuristic, but it's not in connection with the planet's energy and the frequencies, like let's say the Hertz frequencies or the Solfeggio frequencies. There's different things that go on. They create imbalances. So birds are affected by it because they have a high attuned like their pituitary or their pineal gland area in their brain is attuned to magnetic frequencies. And if we have a lot of magnetic things going out there, or kind of like, we'll say HARP energies or whatever we want to call it, there's all kinds of stuff going on, and we don't see them. But the animals experience it differently. Birds, bees. The bees see in infrared as well. So what a plant looks different to them when it's been genetically modified, rather than an organic, natural plant or food that a daisy or something. So it's genetically modified. The frequency it gives off is something that's not what the bee is used to seeing as a food item. It's like an infrared color that's off. Maybe the bee sees a flower in infrared in its light, a greenish tone, let's say, or reddish purple tone, and it might say, "This is my food. I like this. Is what I go for." So it goes to that flower over another. But when they tested and did genetically modified gardens with organic gardens in another field, they first put the genetically ones in first, and they noticed the animals were reluctant to go to them, and the bees as well. But there wasn't much more they could do, so they ate it anyway. But these things affect their body energies and their genetics.
But that's not the question. Questions.
So it's signs of the times, and the Earth is going through changes, and it will read like the ancient texts. So it is a warning to us, yes. I think it's definitely a warning, and I say more now than ever. You have to, all of us, all people, they have to make a choice. Are you going to be only for yourself here, or you start giving to others and helping others? So it's all about self, or is it all about Creator and loving each other for who we are, one with each other? And I say, for me, because I know Yeshua and Blessed Mother, I know them. They are, and St. Michael, they are real beings. They come here when they come in. They can be physical for us to talk to and work with. I would put my total trust and faith in them and Creator, because that is what they teach in space as well. When I'm out there, they always say, there's nothing to be afraid of except what you think you have to be afraid of, and you create things in your mind and stress yourselves out when it never happens. So trust in discerning your information that you hear. Learn to do this. Become more intuitive and trust your gifts, your own spiritual gifts. You have these gifts. Everyone has them. You just have to maybe hone them a little better now and test them out. So if it feels funny and weird, it is. If it feels like love and oneness and experience of truth to you in your heart and in your solar plexus, then it's more real, because your body reads it that way for you. And even Yeshua said to me when I was 6 years old, in a out-of-body or astral travel, people want to call it out-of-body, I call it soul travel because I go further. He said, you know, you don't have to join anything, just you can try not to join groups, because there's always somebody that wants to be the leader to tell everybody what to do. And he said, if you just observe groups, you can go meetings, places like that, observe what's going on, then you can leave it and get an idea of what you feel about it. And if it feels wrong, if you read something or old teachings or anything feels wrong to you in your heart, let it go. And if it feels right and loving to you, or feels like it's truth, keep it. But in the future, if it changes and you feel something else, let that go and get the new teaching that you like now that feels right. Because there's all sorts of teachings. And then he said, and if anything I've ever said and has been written feels wrong, you don't have to accept it. But in the future, if it feels right, you can. So he was telling me what a true master does teach us. He says, take what you need that works for you, let go what feels wrong. But if it changes the mind later on, you read something else, or you feel something, an actual miracle occurs, or something might change your mind to somehow accept something else, then accept it. And it's okay, because there's many truths, but most of the truths lead to the Creator. It's like there's many religions out there, but they all lead to Creator. So Yeshua was telling me that, let your thoughts be on me, and no harm will befall you. So daily when I walk out, I think to him, and I send thoughts of love to him, and I say, watch my steps, or angels guide my path. And then I'm kept out of situations where it might feel weird. So that's why my only thing is to tell people that, because, yeah, there are signs happening. There's things going on planet Earth that do read like the ancient texts. And the UFOs are coming more and more, because in the ancient texts, they were the signs in the sky. And like Yeshua said, too, he said, you can read the signs of the planet, you can read the weather patterns, but how come you can't read what's happening around you right now? It's the signs that are happening right now. So we have to learn to understand the signs that we're being given or seeing. And angels help with signs as well. So truthful angels exist.
We have angels all around us, correct? We all do?
Yes. Everybody has guardian angels. A guardian angel comes in sort of like a female energy, like nurturer mother. And then a male energy will be there for another polarity, male and masculine polarity. When you have a balance of, you need an energy of power around you to project somebody who's trying to, say, stalk us or something. So we want to have power energy there to protect us. So we all call on our angels of Christ light and discern. You can actually ask angels to help you discern and train you to do that too, easier. So you call on these energies like that. And they've come in. I've had my own experiences with angels of power that came in to protect. They're probably 10, 12 feet tall, but they project something, even though I didn't see them because they were behind me. But the people who were trying to manipulate me in a car, my car had a flat tire on a highway in the night at 3 o'clock in the morning, and we prayed for help. And a car pulled up with teenagers in it, and I didn't know. I was not listening to myself. I was hoping they had a jack I can do the car tire myself. But they never got out of the car, so I knew something fishy was happening. And I went over to the car, and the angels told me, don't go anywhere near the door. Just stand back about 5 or 6 feet and just talk to them behind the door. You know, like backwards, like 4 feet or so from the main door that they would open their car. And they just never helped. But at one point, I sensed something fishy was going to happen. There was 4 in the back seat and 3 in the front. And I said, so are you going to be able to help me? And the guy said, yeah, we're going to help you. So it was all negative vibing. And as soon as he turned to look at me, he looked up above me and freaked out. Then he hit the guy next to him with his elbow, pointed to what's behind me up above me, and all of them said, get the hell out of here now. And they peeled out. And I turned around and I said, I don't know what you guys just did to the angels. I said, but thank you. I kept the feeling, did they see a football player, guys? Did they see cops? What did they see behind me? Was it Bigfoot? I don't know. But they ran. And then we were helped by angels after that. A car of kids came, what were they, like, I'm talking to my wife Sunday, blonde-haired kids with T-shirts that look like football players. Get out of the car, like, yip, like, to get out of the car to come over. I said, do you have a jack? They don't know a jack. They lifted the car up by the trunk, lifted the car up, and the other guy takes the wheel off and starts putting it on. And I said, do you want me to help you? And he says, nope, it's all done. And then when they put the car back down, they're getting into their car. There's like 4 of them, 4 guys. I asked, do you want something like money, or can I give you something thanking you? They said, no, we don't do that. Then we start the car and it's dead. The battery died because we were in the cold weather and the snow. So now we're praying for another car to come help us, another angel. Nothing's on the highway at 4 o'clock in the morning now. And all of a sudden we see some lights coming from the far distance. It looks like something from Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Bright lights all over the thing. Driving up, and it pulls up towards us and it's honking his weird horn. All these weird horns. And the whole truck had horns all over it. Like horns on the front, horns on the top, all across it, with a pickup truck, shiny, glossy car. And I said to Phyllis, my wife, I said, this looks like Gabriel and the horns, you know, what's this going on here? So we got to watch this guy now. He's got a little cap. He's all happy and jovial. And he says, you need a jump? And I said, yeah. And I was praying for a big car because we had a big car then. I said, we need a truck or something to jump this car. And he's just setting it all up and doing that. And he's making jokes and he's just happy as can be. And I said, it's a lot of horns on your truck. He says, yeah, I like horns. And then when he's going, we start the car. It's all set. He's getting back in his truck. And he says, well, now you have a nice evening, right? And we said, yeah, thanks. Can I give you anything? And he says, no. I said, well, so just for fun, what are you doing? Do you just out here this time in the morning, you know, driving on a highway at night, nobody around? He says, it's what I do. I look for people who need help. So we knew that was a clue to the angels. And then he takes off, and his car disappears into the future distance. Never sees car lights go away, just fade away. So we got home safe.
That is amazing.
Yeah, there's many stories like this with other people happening. One guy watching one of the angels changing his tire in the back seat area, the back car. He walks over to the front of his truck, which was a white glossy truck. He looks in and there was no dashboard. There was just light. There was no steering wheel. It was just light. And usually they won't talk to you too much. They'll just say, no, it's okay. Or thanks. That's what I do. They say those things. So that's your clue.
You've had the opportunity to speak with angels. Have you ever had the opportunity to actually come in any kind of contact with Satan or Lucifer?
I wouldn't say it's Lucifer. I would have to say it was a bunch of entities like the Legion that they speak of in the biblical terms that materialized a cloud in a hotel suite that my friend had, and I was visiting, and he was a waiter, so I was visiting from upstate down in Florida. And I had my cat with me at the time, in 1976. And my friend Steve, who's on the other side now, he's passed on, was standing between where there would be a bathroom between the living room with a piano there and everything, and a bedroom. And my cat was with him, and all of a sudden my cat turned and hissed. And I was sitting on a sofa, so I wasn't near that area. I was just sitting watching him talk because he was playing the piano. And the cat hisses and runs to me, climbing behind my legs to try to get under the sofa. And this is a cat that never gets upset. He's friendly as heck. And Steve says, Mark, something's over there. The cat just freaked out, but there's something really there. And it's like, what? He said, like a cloud. I've never seen anything like this, but it's so negative. I'm scared. He was feeling evil from it. So there's a incantation of peaceful words I could say and cast these beings away. So I weld the energy in me with light, ask for Christ and everyone, angels and Saint Michael and everyone to come around and protect me in energy fields. As I'm going to go face this and see what's here, I was nervous at first, but then I thought, no, nothing to be afraid of, because Christ is with you and your love is there. So I was just projecting lots of love. So I stood up and got over to the spot. My friend Steve went to the sofa with the cat, and there in front of me, about 6 to 7 feet away, was hovering a giant cloud that was gray, and it was moving around, like morphing in and out of a cloud formations. Out of this cloud, telepathically, I heard evil words and just energy of evil coming towards my mind. You know, it's like sending thoughts at me of many voices, saying, you're this, you're that. You know, they were telling me all kinds of horrible things and cursing. And I didn't let them faze me, and I said, I put white light coming out of my heart and my chest and solar plexus, and I projected it at the energy field of that cloud thing. And I said, why are you here? I just want, we are not about anything but love. So I'm going to project love to you. And they started screaming even more. And I said, Jesus, be with me now. And at that moment, they got mad. They get more mad. And I told them, look, I have an incantation from centuries and centuries ago that casts out negative, evil things. I'm going to say those words and cast you out of here if you don't leave. You can go now and never come back. And they yelled at me more. And the cloud got bigger for a few seconds, expanded. So I said, that's it, you're out. And I projected the incantation. I said the words, I cast them away. But as I did, I cast them to the light, to Creator, to be helped in any way. Because even evil, negative beings can come back to the light if they just release and say they're sorry, that they're forgiven. They will be forgiven and helped. They just have to admit it. So that instantly that cloud dissipated and disappeared instantly, like a flash. It just was gone. And the cat ran over to the spot meowing so cutely. Like, what? What was there? So, yeah, that would be the most evilest thing I came across while I've been on Earth.
We have people, we as human beings on this planet, we have these things that surround us and, try to manipulate us to do bad to others.
Yeah, that would be those type of things. They exist. I tell people that movie with ghosts has those shadow beings in it. Those are, it's funny how that movie had them, because that's exactly what I see when I see some of these beings around bars and negative places like places where people do a lot of drugs. These beings are there too, connecting to them. So they're either, some of them are maybe discarnate souls who were like that in their life and didn't find any hope or something. They just hang in an area that they know for that energy field, and they latch to people who are doing a drug to feel the energy again. But then there's also the tricksters, the lower astrals or playful entities. We call them playful, but they're not. They're just tricksters, and they're from the negative realms, and they are the ones who draw people in to drink more or take more drugs. They might do that. Your angel might be saying, no, don't do that. And these things will just surround the person, and with energy attached to them like threads to their energy field, and just give them bad thoughts. And it helps if they start thinking positive. They can cut rid of these beings. But when they're so depressed or sad or hooked into something like alcohol or drugs, they might not see the light anymore right now in their heart. They just feel so depressed. And that's when these entities take more action, can attach more to them and take them down other paths that we don't want to think about. But all they have to do is change their thoughts in their mind and say, I give this up to you, Jesus, Mother, Father, Creator. Please take this from me, this cross. And I promise I will not do this again. I will change my ways. If people make a truth promise, they will be helped instantly. They can help. I've known people who were drug addicts, were alcoholics, and one person I knew, she put the alcohol all across her dresser and got on her knees and just sobbed to Creator, asking for forgiveness of everything, and just help me with this problem. And I promise I will never see it again or touch it. And next morning she woke up, not a feeling towards alcohol ever. She threw everything away and from that day was free. And she was really a bad alcoholic, she told me.
We had
So,
had the opportunity to talk a little bit before the show. Can you share with our audience about when people get into a loop and how we can possibly break that loop?
well, it's like it's when people, you have something going on in your head, and might have been something that happened, or some people that did something to us, or something. It could be anything like that, and you replay it, even though you thought you fixed it. It keeps coming up subconsciously, like they keep replaying the same thing over in their head. It could be about what they were speaking about, or it could be about an incident. It just keeps happening. It could be something that person experienced, even in an accident. It just keeps replaying. Somehow, with the energy of depression or sadness, it creates what I researched this too online too. There was something like that. It creates a loop, an effect of a loop, because the energy and the chemicals in the brain are getting losing the serotonin, let's say, or something. So they can't get out of that loop. It just seems to replay and replay and replay. And one way I'd say would be with asking Creator. I'm very, very much into Creator and Yeshua and all the different beings out there who are of the Christ group. The beings I work with are Christ group energy. They're masters, ascended ET, basically, like an ascended master here on Earth. So they work with this energy. So I always use Yeshua, Saint Michael, Blessed Mother, and Yahweh, the Mother, Father, Creator, to help cleanse our mind or our bodies from these things. And I had my friend told me, he's a doctor, or a chiropractor friend of mine, and he told me, I know exactly what you're talking about. People have that all the time. And he told me to use this vitamin called GABA, G-A-B-A, and it has a gamma aminobutyric acid. So it's something that is found in the brain, and it's something that gets either burnt out or debilitated by evil, negative thinking or depression thoughts. All these kind of thoughts will bring energy like that towards our brain. The chemical suddenly just gets imbalanced. And he told me at that time, take two a day, and wait about a month or so and see how you feel. And it's not something that you can overdose or anything like that. And sure enough, it worked for me within a week. It worked for me because I was in a little loop where I was getting an anxiety effect, which I never had before. Anxiety, stress like that, I had not had that. So he said, "Oh, this handles that. This is what's good for it. Brings that chemical balance back for that." And other than that, I'd say L-tyrosine is another one that works through that type of frequency too.
How do we, as the people who get involved with negativity in our lives, how can we cleanse our lives and cut that, as you say, cut that vein, and get rid of the negativity in our lives so that we can have a positive life that we should be having?
Cutting the negative energy. Well, you have to. Well, I mean, things that we're talking about, everybody's experienced this stuff, all of us. Something brought us down, something got us depressed, or lose a job, something goes on, and we start feeling like we don't have any worth or something. It's just a weird feeling like that. And when we think like that, our subconscious programs energy frequencies out when we're thinking this way. It goes into our outer aura field where there's an attracting energy frequency field there too. We call it the attraction field. But what happens is whatever we're thinking, speaking, and doing seems to manifest in frequencies, as well as symbolic life form, as we call thought form energy occurs. So if we're mad at somebody, or someone's hurt us, or some incident plays on that was done to us, it'll be reflecting in that attraction energy field as a thought form sometimes, or a frequency of energy of either anger or upset, could be hate, whatever people feel. And what happens is that keeps coming back to us because it's in that field where we're thinking and speaking this way, and what we think and speak comes back towards us. It's even in the Bible. What you speak is your future is your speaking now. So when Yeshua said, do good deeds, speak good words, and build your treasures in heaven back in those times, that meant do good deeds now, treat everybody equally as loving as beings and brothers and sisters that we are, all in one light, and do good work, speak good words towards people. Don't say bad things if we can. Just don't say bad things about somebody. And if it's going to make someone else have a bad impression of them. So these thoughts bounce around and bounce back. So this, if we speak good, the energy field of the attraction energy starts putting out good, positive energy, as well as attracting in what we need for us now. So if a person says, depending on their intent in this energy, and they say, I need this help now, I'm out of money, I don't have a job, I need this money now to pay this or that, or whatever it could be. It could be even a car, it could be a book a person needs. And you put that out, I trust, Mother, Father, Creator, I trust you will bring this, what I need, thy will, not mine, be done. At the right time, according to your word, will and not mine. But I really need this now because I got to do this or pass a test, whatever it could be. And let it go to Creator and just be positive and look forward to the bounce back of that gift coming back to help you. So it's a letting go and a bringing back. And what Yeshua talked about what parent he said to all the people in the mass and masses of crowds, who among you, whether you think you're a bad person or a good person, like a thief or whatever, who would not give their child a piece of bread or water if they asked for it? So you, as a parent, you would help the child all the time. So he's saying, Creator wants to do this too. At the time, that's right. So look forward to that, because the child knows. If a child says, "Can I have some water now?" They know and trust mom and dad's going to bring them some water. That's how the Creator wants us to think. Trust, knowing that it will return to you what you've asked for in some way at some time. You have to pray. You have to meditate on light and goodness and speak good words and start building that time now, because the energy builds up, and the angels utilize that for miracles as well, that loving energy and prayer for others. So in one way, that's how to break it. And there's other ways to cut cords, but that's probably a whole different thing to talk about. But there's ways to do different things. And it comes down to what your truth is inside your heart. You trust Creator with all your heart and soul and faith and love. Even without seeing, Creator's there to help you. And that's when you get answered more, because Creator sees everything and knows everything you know. And people have said, are prayers ever heard? And the angels have always told me, all prayers are heard. All prayers are heard. But it's the timing that they come back, because a person also has to be ready for what comes back. And Creator knows the readiness of their plan, or what challenges they chose to come through to teach themselves something here before they were born. They choose things to go through. So when the timing is right, or their mind is changed to a positive thought, a good thought, and not holding anger and resentment or frustration to others. You have to forgive people that hurt us, forgive everyone. And it's like wiping the slate clean. But never doubt at all that Christ is not with you, or angel is not with you when you call. Instantly with you. That I've been told by them, that I know that from my own experiences. And I used to say this in the old days. I still say it. If you want to see a devil, look in the mirror. Because how we think and what we do creates the things to come to us. If we're mean to people, or saying horrible things, or hurting or abusing people or animals, negative stuff comes back to us. And yes, there are negative beings, and there are creatures like that. But one of our worst devils is our own self, who brings our own words to power back to us in the attraction energy field. So if we're speaking evil about somebody, or negative about someone, or making fun of someone, that energy comes back and bounces in that way too. So people might make fun of us when walking by or something. Don't know why. Just say, I probably judged somebody once. I probably looked at what they were wearing and thought it was kind of odd, or didn't think it was great. And now they're judging me, because it comes back. In some time it comes back. But with this energy frequency buildup that's happening now around our galaxy, that's happening around the galaxies around us too, slowly, you're going to see more karmic things coming back, like instant karma. And also, whatever we speak is going to come back faster too. So be careful what we speak when we're out there amongst people. Say good things, like Yeshua said. Speak good, positive thoughts, be nice, friendly, help each other. You're all connected. As one brother and a sister, you're all connected with our energy field. But because of this frequency speed up that's going on, it is a transitioning energy as well. it helps souls who are leaving the earth now. Let's say someone's dying right now, of course, somewhere on the planet. This energy helps them to get to where they're going, also to help them wake up a little better on the other side when they leave their body and come to awaken on the other side, let's say, the frequency, or ask for their angels to come help guide them out. They will. Family will be there. Pets will be there. My favorite thing here that I forgot to mention, I've said it before, but it's really important. There are people who abuse animals or just take them for granted. They don't know that they were actually soul. They were actually energy, like we have too. And when a person abuses a dog or a cat or a horse or any kind of animal, whatever it is, or tortures something, whatever they're doing, when they get to the other side and are looked at and they see what they've done, the hurting of an animal like that in any way is the same as judgment as hurting a child, as a human. So I'm letting people know this because I have telepathic communication with animals at different times, and fish as well. And in their own way, they have their own intelligence that works with their body, like an insect, like a bee. But just to know that a cat and a dog and a horse, when they telepath with you, they know what to say. They think. They see visions and visuals. And they show me the visuals of what they went through their eyes. And then there's words that they know too. Like a dog knows many words, and cats too, and so does a horse. So I just want people to know that. Don't abuse your animals. Love them. Don't ever hit them if you can't. I know people like to smack a horse, but the horse doesn't feel it the same way a cat would. So be loving to them and telepathically speak to them and tell them how beautiful they are.
I know a lot of people. I've been a paranormal researcher, investigator for a long time, and I know a lot of people who have negative entities around them in their homes, and they're constantly feeling it, or they're being physically, picked on by these entities. And I'm wondering, how would we go about cleansing our homes and our lives from these things?
Well, there are ways, probably online too, that actually do work. Like, okay, you get blessed salt, and you sprinkle a little bit of blessed salt in the areas around the home and the corners and doorsteps and everything. That's one old way that works too. There's different. You can program a crystal, a beautiful crystal, like not a teeny tiny one, but a nice little 4-inch wide one maybe or so. You can program a crystal to cleanse a house from any negative things or gross energy or negative thought form energy that can build up, as well as waves of energy that come in from radios and TVs and things. And you would put it in the center of the room that you want to be fixed. So you might have it in a living room to start, and clean it, cleanse it, and you cleanse it with water as well as flame if you need to. You place it in the center and you program it with your hands. You put it in the cups of your hands and you talk to it, asking it to cleanse my room here now in this house and things like that. When you place it in the center of the room and you leave to go to work or go out, know that it's cleansing, it's doing its thing. If there's any negative spirit or confused spirit, it can actually get pulled towards the crystal to transmute it to get to another frequency where it's out of the room or out of this area of frequency and vibration. And when you come home to look at the crystal, you try to leave it there for 24 hours, but when you come in to see it, it might not look as clear as it did when you put it down. And that is an actual thing that crystals can do. They pull up a certain energy and they can capture it, and it'll look foggy or not pure clear. It might be a little milky looking, very faint. And then you just go to cleansing it again with either if you have a stream in the backyard or a sea and ocean nearby, you can put your crystal in your hands. Don't let the waves take it, but you can cleanse it through salt water. And if you don't have a sea, you can take this normal water out of a faucet and take some sea salt or Himalayan salt, and you want organic as best you can. Sprinkle it over the crystal in your hands and let the water wash over it that way too, cleansing it and telepathically saying it's cleansed and thank you for your help, and everything that's caught in any energy frequency has been blessed and sent to the light. And then you can rinse it with cool water, or you could take an incense stick like smudge sticks or a lit match, and you can hold the crystal with your 2 fingers like a thumb and a forefinger, and then with your right hand, let's say you've got the light of a match or something smudging, you go around the crystal 3 times, and then you tilt it so you go around the crystal in all aspects of it, like moving it forward from lengthwise to width, and try to make like it looks like, the atom symbol on TV shows like Big Bang Theory. They showed the front, they have atoms moving around each other, atoms, atomic structure.
Yeah.
Try to move your flame in that atomic structure look around the crystal. So you might have to move it around your fingers and shift your fingers with the crystal. Try to make that form, but doing it rotating 3 times in all the rings you're making around it. And that cleanses the crystal. And you can reprogram it again to do something else if you want. If you just want it as protection, it will do that. It'll blast light out, keep protecting from negative thought form things and all. And that's why people wear them on their shirt and around their neck. It's best when they're hanging outside the shirt or dress, but sometimes only a person wants to put it under their shirt. Just program it to bless everything through the fabric and keep power of energy around you that's protective and light like that, and only goodness comes to me. Only good. And it's amazing. It really does work. I used to take crystals out to the fields where I used to come from the upstate New York with the UFOs. I'd have them out there on a bench, wherever was out there on the field. And it was fun. They would cleanse it and send energy back to me with that. So people feel my crystals that are good, energized. I call them ET activated. They have a frequency with them that is changed because I do a whole thing with them for hours and days, 3 days of blessing my crystals in oils and waters and frequencies of sound like cosmic attunement energy, like Steve Halper music or classical and spiritual music goes through them, and meditation. I'm also a lay monk with Reiki. I have blessed oils and waters I recreate. So it's I program them with love and to help the people who come to them and to never lose their frequencies of light and energy. And any crystal they touch can send that energy into those other crystals too. So they're projecting crystal. They're protective. It's just like they take in things to help heal. It's amazing. So people have called me up and said, "Do you still have those crystals?" Because they never felt one like it, and they want to give one to their friend or family member. So there's ways that energy is amazingly powerful and loving, and can transform. You can put crystal in a cat bowl or a dog bowl of water for a while, and then take it out after you've asked it to cleanse, and then go let the dogs and cats have their water without the crystal. You don't want anybody eating it, but you could put it in to transform the frequency just for leaving 15 minutes, and then bring the water down to them. Tell them how, and tell the crystal to bless the water with love, light, and protection of microbes and everything. And we do that to our own water too. You can do that and bless your own water. It's like Dr. Emoto. The water has, when you put consciousness to the water droplets, they create incredible snowflake designs of purity. But when they've thought negative, evil things to the water, let's say a glass of water, and they took a drop out of the water and froze it, it might look hideous and ugly and brown. It's amazing. Our thoughts transform things as well. So we just got to keep our mind on that our thoughts will transform things even happening within our body, including genetic things as well as cells. And like when we think positive thoughts only and love to everybody, that energy builds up and the body transmutes with it. So you can actually focus, for healing and everything with our thoughts. That's why it works that way with a lot of healers. They work with thought energy and transference of energy with their creator's energy coming through them as a conduit, like an antenna.
What
did I answer that question? No, I didn't. Did I?
I think you did.
Beings?
I think you did.
The negative, let's see, negative being well, a lot of times they come towards what they, negative beings or nature, not nature spirits, but negative beings will come towards what they feel that they can manipulate as well, telepathically. So keep your thoughts pure and loving. And on the highest of the high, let's say, keeping it pure. We do get tested, yes. Okay, we get tested by negative beings. Yeah, they come at us to see if they can get us. But always tell them to get back off. Just tell them, I recognize you. You're not my thoughts. I know it's of a negative thought, and you're not from me. You're from something else. Get out of here now, and I cast you away. I found you, and I know who you are. You know, something like that. A lot of spiritual people do that, like saying, casting out Satan, basically. So you say, I've recognized you. You're not of my own. Get out. I have a hedge of protection. I am a child of the Creator. You cannot have anything to do with me. My thoughts are only of love and light. And project that blast of light at like a radiating beam. Boom, like a big star. And suddenly you see that these negative thoughts disappear. It's funny the way it works, too. But the beams, yeah.
What opportunity does the vibratory shift offer?
Well, the one we were talking about, like the energy field and all that. Well, it offers a transcending energy for souls who are tuning up. People who are, let's say a lot of people that might meditate, they do a lot of prayer work, they do a lot of maybe healing work. Their energy field is transforming with light because they do that kind of work in prayer, brings a lot of energy to us. Meditation on the light and love of Creator brings a lot of energy to us too. Meditating on the name Yahweh brings an energy of light to us. And when we bring that energy around us that's light and loving, and we're moving through these transitional phases of the planet as well with this energy field that's here as in the galaxy as well, it will help to open us up in different ways where we might not have been open. So if crown chakra needs opening more, or heart chakra, and we focus on it, or a teacher sees it, maybe a healer sees it and puts their energy towards it with focus, with Creator as the conduit. They're the conduit, they're the antenna that come through. Whenever you hear someone saying, I did it, I healed this person, I, me, that's ego. And what happens with a person that does that kind of healing, where they heal from their energy field, they get drained. So you don't want to be that person doing that. You want to be you want to be the conduit, the antenna for Creator, for the Mother, Father, Creator to come through at the right time for that person, the angels and all their energy, to use our body as the conduit, as the frequency energy battery charger, let's say, whatever, and gets the energy sent through, so we have nothing to do with it, but your hands will be guided where to go. And that way, when the healing is done or the feeling is done, it's finished, a person will not be drained of their energy, and they will not take on any of the pains the other person had. That's all when the ego got involved, because I've met people in the past that told me they had this happen to them and they didn't know what they did. But they said, suddenly I had my whole back hurting, and their back pain disappeared, but mine was now hurting for days. But that's because they took on the energy. And the only way to do that is if you say, I'm doing this, I am healing you. That's how that happens. You cannot say, I am healing you. You have to be it thy will, not mine. Creator, take over for me. Yeshua, someone take over for me. And send this person the loving energy they need for healing for them, because you know more than I do about that. And actual miracles occur. And one of our friends is a basic healer like that, close friend of ours. And she only uses Christ, only hears from Christ. And he tells her where to go, too. Go to this building and go to that store and just go in there. And this person in there needs you right now. And she'll walk in, never been there before. And a person is, losing it. Something's going on. And she talks to them and helps them. And there's been actual instant miracles with her. She's a wonderful kid. We love her. That's how that can happen. So you want to be sure that in your subconscious, you have no fear or no doubt about Creator and, let's say, Yeshua and the angels, the guardian angels, or Christ angels, the powerful angel Michael, Saint Michael, the other Saint Michael, Gabriel, and everyone. You want to know that you are totally protected. You do not want to doubt at all with a negative being, especially a demonic type one, because they know what our fear is. So if we think we trust God, or we think Jesus is near us right now protecting us, and we have that little doubt because we're believing he might be there, that's how they can take over whatever is happening in, let's say, a haunted house. Because that's the thing, when people have been in some haunted houses, but if you have a little doubt, that they come towards that. So it's like that, The Exorcist, that ancient movie from the 60s, when the priest gets thrown out the window, That was based on supposedly on a true story or something. But while I was watching it, I was saying, oh, that's what it meant. You know, he's wearing this big cross on his chest. He's got a Bible in his hand, and he's yelling at the demon to come out, and the demon tosses him out the window. So the thing was, he did not trust his total truth. He was not totally believing what he was preaching. He doubted maybe the protection of anything, or the protection of cross or anything. A cross protects you, but not if you don't believe. You have to have trust and faith totally in that cross. It's a blessed cross. Well, it works, but because he doubted it might work, it still didn't work right. This is how our belief systems, like so people have mandalas and they have little things they hold on to that have power to them in that energy field, let's say a certain crystal or whatever, or the cross or different things. And the more they believe and trust in it, it's really there. It is the power and truth there. And Yeshua's cross is a symbol of light and love. So the cross does have power over for a child if you put it in a room with a child that's been blessed. The cross has been blessed. And you trust that cross. So a little child sleeps in that bed and wasn't going to be hurt by the cross over the bed in any way, by anything negative that's coming toward them. What we speak in truth and trust and believe and know is true and have absolutely no doubt is actually there. They've always told me in my teachings as well, from the other side as well. They said, what you think and what you believe actually exists. If you trust and know it's true, it is. By your thoughts, you do these things to yourself. So if you believe truly that this crystal is going to protect and help heal you with the belief in it and the love and energy that comes to it, people notice that they might be holding a crystal and it starts healing them, because of their belief. So it's amazing. We don't need those things. We just got to trust Creator, trust in Yeshua, trust the angels. If you believe the angel guardian or Saint Michael will heal you, and Saint Raphael, they will. They can. I've heard it and seen it been done. If you doubt that Saint Raphael might be able to heal you, he won't be able to come through all the way, so you might get a partial healing. Something like that happens to people too. So be truth in your conviction of love and what you knew was true. I'm telling people from not only my own personal experiences of physical earth, but also from my places where I come from before I came here. These beings are real, they exist, and they're there to help, and they want to help, and they love us all. Unconditionally, they just love us all like their own child would be. Or, the best animal we ever had as a pet. You love your cat or dog. I love my dog, my cats and dogs I had. So angels love us more than that. More than if we were their child. They love us. And they want to help and heal us. So I trust Yeshua because he told me, let your thoughts be on me and no harm will befall you. And I've been in different situations where I was in an accident and he rescued me with that energy and thought. I don't doubt it. And I was even on an icy hill, was pushed up by I'll say angels. I don't know if it was the angels or space beams, but the car was on a hill of ice in the middle of the road sideways, and they turned the car and pushed it up the hill, or levitated it up the hill. And I had my hands not on the steering wheel, or my feet on the gas or anything. This was stuck. So that's the trust. So you have to have that kind of trust and truth, and know that's true as you think it. Creator wants only the best for us. Does not send anything bad to us.
Well, sometimes we kind of get into a situation where we lose faith, or it's not really that we lose faith. We get frustrated and we start to question, is God really there? Does he really care what I'm going through and stuff like that? For those of us who I can't speak for everybody, but I know, for myself, sometimes you get into those situations where you just kind of feel helpless and you feel like God's not there, and you're asking for signs from God and stuff like that, and you're not seeing anything. Are those the times when God's quiet that he's actually working?
Those are the times when you have to start giving more or speaking more truth and light and love. It's there, it's waiting. The Creator waits for us to come to it first. It doesn't push itself on any of us. It would not be free will if it did. So including the UFO people, that's our space friends, my friends, and all the other beings out there. They're benevolent beings, let's say. They're friendly, godlike beings as well. They seem to be godlike, but they're just ascended ETs. They say, come to us first, and we'll come to you. Reach up your hand to us first, and we'll reach down to you to help you. Creator, Yogananda used to say the same thing about his beloved, which was Creator. And he'd say, I have to call out to my beloved, and then I get answered. Creator will not just impose itself on us to say, worship me, praise me only, things like that. No. But when you're in presence of the energy of the Creator, or Yeshua, or Sananda, Jesus, the energy of Creator is right there so strongly. You are so filled with love and euphoric bliss for God, for Creator, for Yeshua, that I can't even explain how the feeling is. It's just beyond earth. It's bliss. It's total euphoric bliss. And it's pure love. So the ETs I talk to and my other ET friends out there, when they come, they have that energy with their field of the spaceship too. So when you call out to them, and if the UFO shows up, the spaceship shows up, don't just accept any spaceship when you're calling out. Always test it and you send love to it. But I'm telling you, when you call out with love and light, the good ones always come, not the negative ones. Negative ones might come by and stop somewhere and you see something flying in the sky and you don't think to it, just send love to it. If you don't feel any responsive love coming back telepathically, it's not one you want to bother with anyway. It might be a physical ET. The higher beings, the higher benevolent ETs, will always telepathically send you a feeling of joy or love or peace telepathically when you look at them in the sky, because they can see us. No matter how far up they are, they can see us. When we're looking up, they see that and get the telepathic link. So when you're calling to Creator or any of the beings of light, and saints, you must be able to make sure you are calling and have total faith and trust that they are going to call back to you and come back to you. So when I call out to Yeshua or God or Creator, I will say, be it thy will, not mine, that you come to me at this time because I need help here or whatever it might be. And when I was stuck in the car, the ice hill, the big ice hill, I called that out first, actually, because here's what they say. Man always comes to us after testing everything they can for themselves to see if they can fix it, and at the end call out because it was something they had not been able to fix, because it was spiritual maybe or something. So make a choice to call to Creator first now. Ask for help now for things that are to come, rather than trying to do it yourself. Like you get stuck and you're trying to do everything, back all around, and the car is still stuck. So when I called out, I said, be it thy will, not mine, but I really need help here. This is not my car, it's my dad's car at the time, 1970s. I said, I have to get this thing home, and there's no phones, and no cell phones in those days. And I said, please send some angels or somebody to help me. And I heard a voice in the car, and the car filled with a nice smell of flowers. And this was wintertime with ice and snow. And said, take your hands off the steering wheel and your foot off the gas or brake pedal. So I did. And that's when the car turned by itself without turning the wheels, just turned. So I figured it was levitated an inch or so. And it just gets pushed up the hill. And all I could say is thank you, I love you, because the whole car filled with the essence of love and Creator, or the smells of sanctity were there. So I knew it was angels and Yeshua. Somebody was pushing me up the hill. But when I got to the top of the hill, I asked them, tell me when to put my hands back on the wheel and my foot on the gas when you say. And they said, we will say now. I'm saying it was the angels, but they will say now, put your hands on the wheel. So I did when I heard now. And then I heard, get ready, put your foot on the pedal, but don't press it. So I did. And then I was just about at the top of the hill, and there's a truck waiting for me to come down, because they're taking one at a time down the hill. And as I heard, as coming up, I heard, put your foot lightly on the gas now. So I did. I just pressed it a little bit. And I heard the car go like that, but I didn't feel anything. And suddenly it felt like they levitated and put it down on the road, and it gripped for a second, went back a fraction, and then went over, gripped again and went forward. So I knew then that they had been levitating the car slightly. So when I got over the hill by the truck driver, he was so shocked looking at the car, like, what happened? I don't understand this. And I just heard, don't stop, just keep going. So I did. So this is the kind of thing a faith and trust in God or Creator and Yeshua brings to us when we totally trust. Totally, thy will, not mine. You have to say it that way. And you say, you know the steerage of my course. You know what I want before I ask. You understand my life here, what I chose. Please help me at this time. But thy will, not mine. I trust you totally. I love you. I praise and I worship. I adore you. I always say adore. I love you, Creator. I thank you for everything you've given to me and will give to me. Please help me in this time now. Help me with whatever it is, whatever it could be. And in that kind of a situation, I ask for that help. When I'm in the accident effect where I was on dry, black ice, spinning and heading for walls here in New York traffic on the bridge, I said, Jesus, angels, help me now. And his image appeared in front of my, basically, window. The whole car window was Jesus' face to me in my third eye, I guess. And instantly, everything stopped, and I was saved. So this unlimited love, but no doubt that you're protected at all times. The angels are there to help protect us. Pray for them, send energy to them, and love them. And know they're there, even if you don't see them. You might feel them, and sometimes in a miracle when it's happening, you actually might see them. They might come to rescue you or show up as a person or a dog to help protect you. And then they dematerialize right after it's done. This has all happened to us. So have your faith in Creator and Yeshua, and no harm comes to you. That's what he told me to say. He said, just know that if you trust in me, let your last thoughts be on me. Like, don't try to get into shock, but we do go into shock when something's happening. So I cried out knowing I was starting to go into shock when I started spinning around on black ice and couldn't stop, and cars were behind me, following me. I was like nuts. So I was like spinning around and going, uh-oh. And I actually had my life pass before my eyes. And so that's when I yelled out, Jesus, angels, help me now. And it was like instant stop. The car stopped and started backing up by itself into what looked like a big wall to me, and I waiting for the impact, and it never happened. So I got out of the car. People stopped. They're saying, "Are you okay?" I said, "Yeah." I looked out the back of the car. There was nothing that stopped the car. There was no wall or no stones or curb. It just stopped, and it was going fast. So it's funny. So I guess I'm just trying to help people understand that. Get into communication now with Creator. I know there's atheists out there, but I'm letting you know there's an actual entity of energy of light. It doesn't form an old man. It doesn't do that. It can do whatever it wants, but it's this energy that's beyond anything we can imagine. There's no imagining it. So if you look at a fishbowl, a giant tank, and all the little fish are galaxies and other universal galaxies, let's say, and the tank is there, and that's our universe for now, one of the universes. And Creator's beyond that is the big, big room. It knows all about those little fish and all the little tiny people who are in the galaxies, who are the fish galaxies, let's say. So if you imagine that, this Creator is all-knowing and unlimited, and it cares about everyone. It doesn't ignore us. We ignore it. And in fact, I spoke one time about that to let's say Yahweh. I asked about that because people go through that, and it said, I never lose sight of my children. They lose sight of me, but I'm always there to welcome them home. So make peace with Creator in that way. If you doubt there is a Creator, just make peace. Creator gives you signs every day, you just don't notice them. They say miracles happen all the time, you're just not seeing them. The fact that the flower petals opened up and gave you smell when you walked by, the little butterfly that landed on your hand, these are all little minor signs you're trying to get communicated to.
Those are definitely amazing words to live by. They definitely are. I mean, I think that my belief has grown throughout the years tremendously in both Jesus and God. I have grown so much, and I've seen so much of what they've put in front of me and opened my eyes to. This was an amazing interview with you, and I had the honor to be able to chat a little bit with you and your wife ahead of time. And I just want to say that you and your wife are absolutely amazing, and you are great, and you have changed a lot of my thinking, and you've changed a lot of my life today. in who I want to be and what I want in my life.
Well, Sue, there's something the crew wants you to know, and this in the audience really important right now. The space crew is my family and friends, and there are. If you go to our website to Universal ET symbols, you will see 5 symbols we've set up right now only to test and play with the people. We know these work, but I want people to have these now. And I've received these symbols last August 1st when I was out on the ships anyway. As I go, I've seen them since I was a kid, thinking they were art forms on the ship. They move along the walls, some of the walls, not all the walls, but some, like in a big corridor. They kind of move in and out like I always say like a dolphin coming out of the water and going back under it, or a fish swimming up and going under. You could still see them in the frequencies of light. They're colored, beautiful colors. They come on and they move like a laser energy as a drawing, of this drawing, and then just goes back under and comes back up another part of the wall. And these corridors are huge and long, and these ships, these high ships, these are up on the 10th through 12th dimensional spaces and 9th as well. So you don't see these on the lower frequencies of 4th and 5th, but there's other symbols on ships too. Well, I thought they were art, but when I went out again last year, I made my point to go touch them and go closer to them with my earth conscious awareness, as well as my other conscious awareness, which knows what they are. So I had to connect my earth conscious to my other higher aspect consciousness. Again, we reach up to them. Okay, so we have to ask them. And I learned that when I was out there as a little kid, because I was asking certain questions, but it was only when I asked the real questions that I connected to my over part, my true self, and said to me, I've waited for you to ask that. So I'm letting people know, ask and you'll be given, seek and you find exactly what it says and Yeshua spoke of. These symbols are, I was told, are alchemical light symbols, ET alchemical light energy symbols that represent frequencies of creator, of love, that manifest within different dimensional frequencies, not only in deep space or in higher frequency dimensions, but in the high densities of light. These energies are there as thought form like energies of creator's love. And also created by all souls, like all of us. We were out there, we have brotherhood, sisterhood, feelings of oneness and all. And these energy forms, these patterns, that creator aspect energies are within these patterns as well. So Yeshua, I asked Yeshua Sananda, what they said to bring these home. I was able to remember them all when I came back. So they said, do this. Yeshua said, well, just let people know that if they draw them in, let's say you draw one in sand with your fingertip, or if you draw them like a conductor conducting an orchestra in the air, using your first 3 fingers, the thumb, forefinger, and middle finger, put together like a little clover, the tips. A lot of energy comes out of our fingers in that way. And Yeshua was saying it was okay to do this now. At the time, it was okay. But in the time of Yeshua, when he was walking the planet, he could only bless people with his first 2 fingers, the middle finger and the forefinger, and he would cover his thumb with his other 2 fingers, the pinky and the ring finger, because when he'd do a blessing, that was the energy at that time. If he had shown his thumb, he told me, in a blessing, the energy would have been too strong for the souls at that time on the earth. So now he said to me, it's okay now to use this with these frequencies and these energies. As you project love with them, or what the meaning is in your mind, see that you're drawing it in the air around you as a light beam of color, whatever color you think, white, green, blue, pink, purple, gold, silver is good. Gold and silver are very high frequencies. So you draw those and see it there and draw it on your wall at home, on the living room wall with your fingertips. If you feel like sketching one on a pad, good, you can. Or, sketching, making one in the dirt around a house on your yard, you can. And with that light, it embeds into the etheric energy fields as well as the Lipica webs, as we call them in space, the Akashic energy frequencies as well. And Lipica webs are the energy frequencies that make up all the types of frequency densities and dimensional spaces within all these systems in the universe. It is how we are known on our, all about, other beings know about us, but the Lipica webs are the transmuting energy frequency webs that work with the Akashic energy as well. And so when you're out there, if you ask to see that, you will see like thin threads of golden energy, very thin, micro thin, very thin. So if you work with these alchemical symbols of love. We've already tested them with friends for the past year, and people have had experiences with Blessed Mother and Yeshua. Praise Yahweh or praise Alleluia Creator. The first symbol is that praise Creator, Hallelujah, Alleluia, praise the Lord. All that energy of that praise frequency of love is in that symbol, and I draw it on different things. Like I'll draw it in the dust on my car, just for fun. But you draw this symbol of love in your mind, in reverence for Creator, in humility and love and gratitude. And especially of reverence, a feeling of love for Creator, and the main thing is gratitude, and it transforms energy frequencies around. So another one is brother. We saw the symbol for brother to be drawn on in your mind on people you meet, the guys you meet. He's my brother in love. So there's a brotherhood energy going out, and there's sisterhood energy as well. And my wife tested it on the subway last year, and she said she just randomly chose a person just reading a book or something and sent the sister energy to her in her mind, drawing it with her mind, not her fingers, sending that symbol over in light to the girl that was sitting opposite. And the woman looked up and smiled at Phyllis, and like recognition of something, right? The next one is overself to dimensional universal aspect or higher self. Representing a dot is one of the overself. The spiraling, the back and forth energy, it looks like going back and forth, and then to a little dot on the bottom. The little dot represents the aspect, or like us. So you draw that symbol on paper or put it under your pillow, and with the meaning of what it is, my overself to my aspect, younger self, which is me here right now, on Earth, let's say. And you can have dreams, more lucid dreams and things, where your over part is connecting to you telepathically. The last one we show is spiritual abundance. We have three abundance symbols, but we're showing the spiritual one for now. We're finishing a book on the symbols, but I have over 80 of them now. This spiritual abundance is we say is a prized goal, we think, because if we have spiritual abundance, we have a whole lot, because once you understand Creator loves you and they're here to help us, all the beings of love, this abundance of energy starts coming towards us with love, with this spiritual abundance. So you might be directed to go find a book, or you might see your angel. Who knows? Anything can happen. And you can walk out around the world projecting spiritual abundance on people and the buildings and anywhere you want. So this is what they feel is important for people to know, that this energy helps to transform frequency as well as our own, around us, when we put it around us. One of my friends was doing the praise symbol at one of our talks one time, and we have a Blessed Mother symbol as well in Yeshua. She put in the Blessed Mother symbol after, and she got overwhelmed by Mary showing up in energy around her, and she started spontaneously just crying, because she was so filled with this pure love, she said, that she couldn't contain it. So I want people to try to work that. And it can't work with negativity, and it won't work with anything evil. You must have the feeling of reverence and spiritual of praise to Creator, or the loving energy of Creator. Thank you and gratitude. That energy has to be there with this, but before you do work with these symbols.
That is absolutely amazing. For me, this is the stuff that, I want the listeners to get out to these listeners. I mean, we have hope. We have hope in when we get people like you on here, we know that there's more in this world than just the earth that we walk on, and a lot of people, if you go to a lot of people, their answers to a lot of things are, they're very closed-minded. They don't believe that there's an outer dimension past Earth. They don't believe in UFOs and aliens. And it's great when we can get somebody on here who's actually experienced this, who can come and tell us that there really is something beyond Earth.
Oh, yeah.
Did you tell about photos?
Oh, hey, Joy, Sue, is it possible to take a break?
Sure, we can do that.
Okay, because I got to get something to drink badly because my whole throat is drying out and I have hot tea, but it's cold. And I start choking up if I don't. So can I take 5 minutes or 4 minutes or 3 minutes of break for a second?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Have you looked at the photography yet?
You mean that I actually did an interview with a guy on here who
Typically,
yes, Timothy Green Beckley, and he actually sent me those photos and told me that they were from Mark and wanted me to check them out and stuff like that, and I did. I absolutely, they were incredible.
did you go to the website late? Did you go to Mark's website yet?
Yes, I have. Yes.
Because the most recent ones that he got, which were on May 14th, I don't even know if Tim's actually looked at them yet. I don't know if Tim sent you those, but if you actually go in and look at the ones that I posted, there are, talk about signs in the sky. There are symbols that they look like hands reaching out. The UFOs that Mark saw in the sky would just look like white or silver morphing shape. And then when we downloaded them into the computer and I blew them up, if you look closely, you can see things. A shape looks like a heart. A shape looks like a lotus unfolding. A few of them look like a hand. One of them looks like a hand with a heart and a cross in it. I mean, these things blew my mind, and I'm accustomed to phenomena with Mark. That particular, I mean, they all blow my mind, but that group, the May 14th group, I thought was just amazing with what the ETs are doing, and the group from April 18th was another incredible. I was out in the park with Mark that day, and we were on our way home, and all of a sudden they showed up just before we left, and I actually took a video of it with a bad camera, so you could just see kind of a white light fluttering in the sky. And Mark had the camera with the 300 millimeter lens, and so he was shooting. It took about 75 images. And when I got that group, the April 18th group, back on the computer, and we blew those up, I couldn't even believe my eyes, because they were literally, they had created shapes as they morphed, like the letter A. I mean, if you really get in there and you look at them, and I've actually on those two dates, May 14th and April 18th, I posted close-ups of all of the pictures so you could see how each frame changed. And I just think it's, they're telling us something. I feel like they're communicating with us. Well, we know they're communicating with us because they talk to Mark all the time. You know, they're talking to him today as he's talking to you. But when I say they're communicating to us, if you actually went into the website and you looked at the April 18th images, when you go to the page on each on the blow-ups that I had chosen to enlarge, and you see the information that they communicated to Mark about those particular symbols that occurred as they were morphing, they actually imparted energy into those forms and those symbols, that if people look at those symbols, did you read it? Is this coming to mind, Mark? I'm telling her about the April 18th ones and the May 14th.
Yeah.
And if you go to the April 18th symbols, what you were told when they look at those symbols, that's the second group. The second group.
May 14th?
The second group, Mark, the April 18th.
Oh, April.
When you go to
I heard it May 18th.
Yeah, now scroll down a little bit. Enlarge one. And then scroll down and explain to her underneath the thumbnails.
Oh, okay.
What they told you. This I thought was amazing. Again, I'm used to the amazing with Mark, but this really blew my mind.
Are we back on?
Yeah.
Oh.
I don't know if you're on, but I'm just telling her.
Yep, we're on.
Uh-oh.
Oh, okay. Well,
You were
that's
talking
good.
about Phyllis.
That's all right.
That's great. You know what? You're both amazing, so that's okay with me.
You're amazing too.
Thank you.
But this particular group, the April 18th group,
April 18th.
April 18th.
It says at the bottom we put, well, anybody can read it if they're on there. It says Sananda Ashtar, the Ashtar Command Crew, Ashtar and the ET crew, my ET crews, when I say ET crew, my friends I work with, revealed that energetically embedded in the light ship's ionic plasma frequency energy fields are sonic vibratory light codes intentionally placed in the shapes projected in the light around the ships. They suggested as we look at and contemplate the shapes and colors, info is sent to our subconscious and body cells for DNA and spiritual body chakra attunements. These energy balances occur on many multidimensional levels. This creates a radiance transference of light to the pituitary and pineal glands, thereby enhancing the crown chakra to glow and expand out towards the 8th to 12th cosmic planes, and also vibrating into the finer, higher light dimensions. And you can click on the thumbnails to the left, it says up on top, to see the enlargements of the morphing light ships. They appeared gold, although what I saw wasn't gold in the binoculars when I first looked at it. It was a silvery whitish, but reflecting highly.
So that's like a gift that they're giving
So they told us these were gifts.
everybody.
Because I've been promoting them for the UFOs and our friends, that is, as the signs in the sky, because that's what Yeshua told me. He said, they are the signs in the sky. Where Creator is going to speak to you through the ascended beings of light, and they will show things in their ships. And many years ago, 2012 or something, or 2011, we were upstate, and our friend, who's a photographer, invited her to her house to stay there for a weekend. And I telepathically called and prayed and asked for a ship to come by because she had never seen one. She believed in them. She's seen in her dream state. And about 10 minutes later, a UFO came and hovered over the yard. And we took pictures of that one. And I gave her my binoculars and said, look, a lot of times they'll transform or create a symbol on the side of the spheres they're in, working with there. And it'll be like a heart or a cross, you know, things like that. Maybe a smile effect, you know, to let you know that they love you and they want to help us, you know. So she's looking with the binoculars as I'm telling her this, and she says, oh my God, they just did something like that. I just saw a heart. And then she says, oh my gosh, now it's formed a cross in the center of this craft. So meanwhile, Phyllis and I were taking photographs of the UFO in 2 different cameras. I think it was 2 different cameras. And when we got them home to develop them here on the computer, you know, download them, there was the heart on one of the ships in faded blue and a faded cross in the center of the ship. So now our friend came down to visit us that day.
Next day.
Oh, it was the next day. She comes down the next day to pick up something, whatever, from up in Larchmont. And Phyllis had put the UFO pictures now in a sheet so you can see them as a download. And she saw it and she goes, oh my God, that's the one I was looking at through the binoculars. That's the heart. And she goes, oh my gosh, that's the cross. There it is, exactly what I saw. You said they would make symbols. I said, yeah, that's what they are. They're symbols for the signs. They're trying to help people understand they're from Creator. They're not negative beings or demons or any of that. And
Our future selves.
yeah, they're really our future selves, actually, sometimes visiting us, you know? Like
That's
a higher aspect of us.
amazing. That is amazing.
Did you look at them while we're talking, or?
I haven't had the chance. I haven't been on your site since they were uploaded.
Okay.
But I'm definitely going to, and I'd like to, at the end of this video, I'm going to pin some up at the end of the video for our viewers to look at. But I definitely, you know, advise our listeners to get on your site and check it out. You have a very interesting site.
It is called intergalacticmission.com. That's INTERGALACTIC, mission, MISSION.com. Because in England, sometimes they spell intergalactic with 2 L's.
Okay.
1 L for galactic. Yeah, that's the name of the intergalactic mission is actually what we are in space, called the intergalactic mission, when we work with intergalactically through different galaxies. And it's all benevolent beings of light and beings of high dimensions coming together to spread the good news or spread the light around and help souls, help planets. They help systems where they're having troubles. Like Earth right now is a planet that has a lot of stuff going on in it. And they're here. They've been here for millions of years, actually. But like I said, I've seen the dinosaurs. You know, was drawing them as a child and had no references. I just told my parents what they do and how they do it. But this is the beings of light, and Ashtar is a being of he's a high master and ascended ET, and he wants to be able to be the one. He works around the solar system in this Earth and also the other solar systems in this galaxy as a they were protectors, and they also are teachers. So people will be out of body with them, and they will meet different teachers and beings, and they'll learn different things about this galaxy or about the planets, depending on what soul wants to learn about. Ashtar is a wonderful guy, and he's really a nice being, and he's a very good friend and close friend. And if you see him out of body, when you're out of body training or going to the ships at night out of body, you might see Ashtar appear maybe 7 to 8 feet tall. So don't be scared, don't be alarmed. And he usually tries to get down to about 6.5 feet to 7 feet.
Wow.
But the crew I work with, we all go out. 7 feet is as low as we can get on these dimensional spaces around the planet. But when you go higher frequencies, you're talking to people and beings who are all 12 feet and higher. And my friend's mom, I know this is crazy, I know probably people are bored now, but my friend's mom was having no dreams. She couldn't sleep. She's older now and having troubles. And Madeline, my friend Madeline, said, well, say the words on the site. Adonai Vasu Baragas, that's on questions and answers, basic Q&A, it says on the side. Go to that and scroll down to the bottom. Read everything in between, because it says, is the Earth in danger of an alien invasion? I say no. I'll tell you why, what they said. Scroll all the way down, and there's sacred words that attract our ascended ET masters they told me to use for people here. Adonai Vasu Baragas means blessings always in the light, love, or infinite creator. Om Sabasin Manuram means infinite creator, we are one in love. Nisandik Mushul Maktubli Niktana says, I send healing and blessings to you from the one infinite light. I've used that one for healing and absentee healing for people. These are ancient words from our galactic friends, known in space. So when you see a UFO flying over, if it stops and calls to you and says, look up, say, I love you, thank you for stopping. Adonai Vasu Ragas. Vasu, in translation, is welcome and thank you, and like sort of like an aloha means it blesses you for meeting you now. And then if you're leaving, you could say Vasu, which is like saying blessings in the light. Always, you know, that's what Vasu kind of means as a meaning. So you could say at the beginning of a letter saying Vasu, joy, and at the end you could say Vasu, have a great day. God bless, Creator bless you. Yeah. So if you're speaking the words, that helps too.
And tell about you didn't finish the story about her mother, about Madeline.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry about Madeline's mom. So Madeline told her mother to say Adonai Vasu Baragas before you go to sleep, and the space people will come and help, you know, maybe come and help you with a dream or take you out to the frequencies of light.
And the ships.
On the ships out there. And on the ships, the spaceships, there are oceans, there's water, there's everything you could think, because they have planets symbolically there. Like, it's not like it's not like Star Trek with a room that becomes everything, like holographic room. These are actual, definite holographic-y type images, but they're real. I can't explain any more than that. They're not fake, they're real. And you can experience many things. So they have everything there, from other planets, floral or trees, to Earth's type of streams and mountains, everything's there. So her mom said that night, she did a little prayer, and she had Adonai Vasu Baragas, and woke up the next day telling Madeline, I had the most amazing dream I've ever had, because she hadn't been having any dreams for a long time because she couldn't sleep. So Madeline told me that her mom told me Madeline told me that her mom said, I suddenly found myself on a beach, a beautiful beach with oceans and waves. I couldn't tell where I was, and there were people, but all the people were over 12 feet tall. And she felt contentment and peace because they were just sitting on stones or everybody was like, it was like you were at the park, you know, people at a park. So she was at an ocean. When Madeline told me that Mom said the ocean was there, I said, oh, she was at the other ocean areas that they have that are expansive and just sand and beautiful sand that's pure white, sometimes different colors. So the fact that she said people all around me I could see sitting on the ground or sitting on some stones or all talking or just sitting smiling at her, they were over 12 feet tall. And she knew they were space people because she's seen the way I'd drawn them. So she went, oh my God. So that Madeline told us that would help your mom a lot. And she got all excited.
That is very encouraging. This stuff to me is so exciting. I looked so forward to this interview for so long. Ever since we set it up, I was so excited. This is the kind of stuff I love. I absolutely love it. And
Now, there have been people I've taken out of body a long time ago. They go through a certain little ritual we do, or what do we call this, activation we talk about now. And I didn't teach it to people back in the 70s because the space people said I couldn't. The energy wasn't right for that yet for the people. And unless they had had ET contact or lots of ET, close encounters with spaceships. And the people in England I visited ran the UFO center there in England. And one of my friends had contact with beings similar to my friends, which were actually friends on the other side. That's how we recognized each other. So we, I'll make it short. One day I asked people without the others knowing if they wanted to go on the ship with me tonight. And normally one guy would go with me and he'd remember.
Out of body.
Out of body, that is. Out of body, soul traveling. But this one day, all people in the house wanted to go, including a 12-year-old girl. So her mom, dad, her friend, and another guy, and oh my God, it's like 6 of us total, at least. So 3 of us slept in the living room on cots, and that was me and one guy, Rodney, and Mike, my friend Mike. And then the other people were upstairs. So everybody was joking downstairs because they'd been out with me. They said, this will be interesting what happens. And we just said, we hope everybody remembers something, even just a little bit. Next morning, we get back. We can hear people rustling upstairs. We're sitting up we're in the living room on the cots and couch, and we're sitting there talking about what just happened. We hear people getting up and upstairs, and the little girl comes down first, and she says, her person was Nancy. She's passed on now, though. Nancy doesn't want to come down. She wants to go back. She didn't want to come home, and she's crying. So we felt, oh my gosh, wow. Then her parents come downstairs, and we're all in the kitchen. They were vegetarians, and we're all in the kitchen. I was standing by a counter with kitty cats near me, playing on the floor. And I was watching everybody at the table just talking about what happened. And now I realized the only guy that really knows me was Rodney out there, and Mike. So her parents are talking about it. Ella's, the little girl's talking about it. She's saying, I told her to go to the art gallery with this lady. So she remembered me telling her that in my ET form, my other form, which you see on the website. Phyllis put a picture of me with my aspect next to me, my higher overself, I guess I'll say. And you experience everything through the overself as well. So she says, oh, remember this, remember that. Then the mother's talking. And then she looks over to me at the counter and she goes, but Mark, where were you? We're all talking about this. I said, I was right next to you. I was standing on your left. And she says, that was an alien. With those other aliens. I say, it was my 2 friends and me right next to you talking with you. And she says, oh my gosh. Then Rodney starts laughing and says, oh, forgot. You get used to it after a while when you realize that alien talking and walking with you is actually Mark. So this is what happened with Rodney. He was always talking to me as myself, my true self. And when we'd come back, I would know what we were talking about. That's when he realized it was me. He said, I was talking with an alien. I said, no, you're talking to me.
They all came back with such a magnificent...
And everybody came back remembering something from the ship and to eat my friends. And so Ella, to this day, I'll say Ella was her name. I'll just say the little girl, now 40-something years old, was influenced by that experience because she liked art. She became an artist and a sculptor. And she told me the reason when we met, because we put out a call for each other, we lost touch with each other. And she changed her name a little bit. So I put out a call saying, Creator, if you could find Ella, can you get our angels to call me somehow? So one day, a week later or so, or 2 weeks later, we get an envelope in the mail, big envelope, with photos and junk. And she says, on the cover, it says, if this is the Marc Brinkerhoff I knew in England in 1978, it's me, Ella. And if it's not,
Wow.
if you know that, Mark, can you send this on to him? So we talked on the phone, and she had changed her name from Ella to something else. I'm not saying now, but it was just funny.
Had
And
a
she's-
shared experience.
Everyone shared the experience, and she says, if it wasn't for that experience, I wouldn't have become what I am, because I tried to mimic what I saw in my art and sculpture, but I cannot do it because it's not of this frequency, it's not of this dimension, but it was real, and oh my gosh, everything was 3D and going by thought form, by thoughts, it would move. And I said, yeah, that's what it did. I told her about it. Art there on the ships and then different planet systems is telepathic art. So anyway, like if you walk towards a painting, it'll start moving. Anyway.
That is awesome.
So that was the day that happened with all those people. Phyllis has been out there with me too, towards Venus. She saw the water sculpture show that they did. And now today, in the last 2 years or so, or 3 years, since 2012, I was asked by the crew and the space people and Yeshua and everybody that it's okay to now teach that activation to the souls who will come to me. They said, we are for the few, not the many, really. But there are people who know they're not from Earth, and they'll come towards us through friendships, through, like now we're talking, you and me and Phyllis. And I can definitely say you're not from Earth because we talked to you about all this. And you're talking like Tim Beckley, you know. So it's okay to do this activation because it opens them up to their overself, higher self. And with people we've experienced this experience with us, told us that during the ET activation or the week later, within a week, they had out of bodies or they had met their higher self, came to them through subconscious as well as third eye and all that. So anyway, I know we got to wind down, sorry, but I just want people to know that that's what we're teaching. You know? Okay.
Well, you know, I want to thank you so much, you and your wife both. You are amazing people, and I want to thank you so much for taking the time to be with us today. This was a phenomenal interview, and I enjoyed it, and I would so much love to have you guys back on.
Oh, Sue, no problem.
Now, we love you.
We love you, man.
Yeah, I definitely love you guys, and you know, I feel very blessed to have had this opportunity to get to know you guys both, you know, on air and off air. And you're definitely amazing.
Oh, you are too.
Thank
Come on. And you know what, Sue? If you need to talk to us anytime, okay?
Thank you very much.
You email me, whatever you want to do.
Thank you. You guys have a great night, and you know, like I said, you guys have changed my life just in the you know time that we chatted before we came on air, and I want to thank you guys a lot.
Oh, you're
And blessings to
blessings.
your daughters, too.
And blessings to your children, yes.
Thank you very much.
In the infinite light of Radiant Creator.
Thank you.
And go practice the symbols for fun.
I'm definitely
And see
going
what
to.
happens. Just play.
I'm looking forward to it.
And our friends in the audience, just play, but lovingly, with reverence and love and humility to your Mother, Father, Creator. Do this with that reverence and love, and do it for helping, you know, and just see what happens. You just watch, see what happens. I'd like to hear.
Oh, I'll definitely let you know. I'm looking forward to it.
So thank you so much for having us on too.
Well,
I'll say it now because we've both been on.
well, God bless you guys.
God bless you.
God bless you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
And have a nice day. Adonai Vasu V'rayas.
Thank you. You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.
I cannot even tell you guys. That was phenomenal. I had the opportunity, actually the honor, of being able to chat with Mark and his wife Phyllis for a while before we went on air. And they are absolutely amazing, phenomenal people. And I feel very honored and blessed that I had the chance to chat with them, as I do all of my guests. You got to get on and check out his website, though, because that website is amazing. And, you know, this is the stuff that I love. I love each and every one of the guests that come on here and take their time to share their experiences, because without those guests and you guys, there wouldn't be a show. And this is what I love to do. So thank you guys. Thank you, listeners. And thank you, guests. And you're all amazing. Well, that's all we have time for today, and we post all our shows on YouTube. And if you want to know more about our guests and upcoming shows, just visit our info2rail webpage. Just Google info2rail and click on our Google Sites page. Thank you again very much for joining us here at info2rail, and we very much hope to see you here each and every week. May God bless you and keep you, and may his face shine upon you in these uncertain times. We'll see you soon.